Do we live in the minds of a modern alien? Are we really a part of God's mind? Is our universe alive? I mean, take a look at our universe. How much does it mix with a creature's brain cells? Similar structures, similar connections, and similar activities that are going on according to the same laws and laws of physics. Well, this is not some fancy imagination. Rather, it is a fascinating scientific discovery published by some very capable scientists. In the year 2020, astrophysicist Franco Vazza and neurosurgeon Alberto Filetti were performing an experiment on the two parts of our brain, the cerebellum and the cerebrum. During this experiment, when they zoomed on the brain samples with their microscope, they suddenly found something that looked quite familiar but was in itself quite weird. They saw that the structures that were visible in the brain at 40x magnification were completely connected to the universe, drawn by the James Webb Space Telescope. Now, it looks like they are definitely connected, but what does this mean? Our universe is a very large brain of an advanced being. Well, in a few minutes, you will know what that research has done. But for now, if scientists never even know that the universe is a huge brain, then too, mind you, very soon they will be able to change it into a living brain. Because our scientists are working on nanobots that can swallow the entire Earth in 20 months. And in a few years, the entire universe. This is fascinating. But is this something that we humans are afraid of? Or is it a great achievement of humanity? And what exactly is a nanobot? We will understand this in detail in the story. But before that, first things first. Let's see what these two researchers have in mind and in the universe. So, the experiment of Vazza and Filetti was quite simple. They checked the similarities between our brain and the universe on three basic parameters. First, appearance. Second, structure. And third, composition. So, first of all, when they compared the universe and the brain, they didn't see any similarity in the universe. But then, out of curiosity, they thought, why don't we magnify these brain structures in the microscope? Let's see how patterns are seen. And then, as soon as they magnified, they saw this. In the brain samples, there were small dots like galaxies in the universe, that is, the brain samples and the images of the universe. But after zooming a little, they started to see similarities. And finally, when they zoomed these samples to their maximum magnification, then they were able to see the similarities. They were literally shocked. Because at this point, they also started to see the lines that connect those dots with the small dots in both the samples, just like the image of the universe. So, once again, as you can see here, our brain and the universe both look quite similar in terms of structure. And so, after ticking the first parameter, it was now time to examine their second parameter. And the result of this investigation turned out to be something that they probably never expected. They saw that on an average, one neuron of the brain is connected to 4 neurons next to it. And on an average, one galaxy in the universe is also connected to 5 galaxies next to it. This was crazy. On the micro level, their structure had such a striking similarity. Both these parameters were pointing in the direction that the universe might actually be a brain. But to further clarify this, they also started to compare them on their final parameter. In this, they first compared the numbers of the objects in both of them. And according to their calculations, there are 69 billion neurons in the brain, and there are 100 billion galaxies in the universe. And now, I know it might seem like a lot of difference, but surprisingly, the brain has 69 billion neurons, it has 30% mass, and the universe has 100 billion galaxies. You guessed it right, the universe has 30% mass. And that's not all. These similarities do not end here. The remaining 70% mass composition of these neurons is also similar. I mean, both the entities, i.e. the brain and the universe, are made up of such inert substances that do not interact with anything around them. In the case of the brain, for example, that substance is water, and in the case of the universe, that substance is dark energy. But friends, hold on a bit. Can we call the universe a replica of the brain on the basis of structural similarities? Because the major task of the brain is to think. So can our universe think too? Is our universe alive? If yes, then how will we know? So look, when there is a tumult in the neurons at the atomic level, then they get influenced by it and start acting randomly. During this act, they also influence the neurons around them, which creates a connection between all those neurons, and that connection gives birth to thoughts in the brain. Just like this, when the planets, stars, and asteroids in the galaxy collide with another planet or star, or interact gravitationally, then because of their random movements, things around them also get influenced. And these interactions influence the gravity of the entire galaxy, which in turn communicate with other galaxies with the help of this. And this is when an event is created in the universe, just like a thought in our brain. So are these universal events actually the thoughts of the universe? Now, because of the interactions in the neurons, if the brain can be alive, then can we say that the universe is also alive because of the interactions in the galaxies? Well, that's a fascinating thought, right? Now, just because we don't have the answer to this question, maybe you are also feeling that this concept is very silly. But let me inform you, there is a major reason for scientists to follow such weird and silly thoughts. That is, because of the universe's brain, many of the long-standing problems of physics can be solved, including the biggest problem of the all, finding the connection between quantum physics and classical physics. So, Einstein's relativity predicts the behavior of large objects like black holes and galaxies, and quantum mechanics predicts the behavior of small objects like electrons, protons, quarks, and atoms. Both theories are completely useless outside their domains, and scientists have not yet been able to find any such theory or equation which can predict the behavior of all objects from protons to galaxies. And in this case, if we consider the universe as a brain, then we can describe the behavior of the objects in it with these two equations. And here's where it gets more interesting. These two equations, even though they are opposites of each other, both give the same results in some special conditions. That is, if the universe is a brain, then we can predict the behavior of all objects from protons to galaxies, and we can understand the behavior of all objects from a single equation. Now, do you remember something? For the theory of everything, we have been looking for a single equation for a long time. One equation that can describe the entire universe. Besides, there are 26 physical constants in our universe today, due to which our universe has been able to be formed and fixed due to the right amount of them. For example, take the gravitational constant. If its value is a little higher or lower, then our universe would never be able to be formed. And in 1961, astrophysicist Robert Dicke has proved it. So this means it is absolutely clear. Understanding the universe as a replica of the brain, many things start to make sense. But friends, you know what? Where one group of scientists are supporting it, there is another lobby there which considers it total nonsense. They feel that this is just our confirmation bias, which is showing us the same thing that we want to see. Because, according to Ludwig Boltzmann, everything that we see is just an illusion. Like, look at this clip. The structure shown in this clip makes a face at a certain angle. If we turn it a little, then you can see that it is a random structure of wood, just like this. The first image I showed you of the James Webb Space Telescope, it can also be the same. As soon as we change our perspective here, then the arrangement of the galaxies seen in these images will also change. Now, let's assume that our brain has not been tricked in this and the universe is really a living brain. So even in this concept, there is still a very big problem. Our brain's size is 140 millimeter, and in that, electrical signals or information travels at a speed of 100 meters per second. That is, in our case, a thought is generated instantaneously. Now, if we apply the same thing to the universe, then the size of the observable universe is 93 billion light years. And in this, information travels at a speed of 3x10 raised to the power of 8 meters per second. That is, in comparison to our brain, it will take tens of billions of years for a thought to be generated in the universe, whereas the age of this universe is 13.6 billion years. And that is why, friends, we will need some more solid proof before we can truly conclude that yes, the universe is really a brain. And scientists are still working on it. But this concept has opened the floodgates of imagination, just like the simulation theory, which claims that our universe is a simulation created by an advanced alien species. Now, I've already made a detailed video on this, which you can simply search and watch on YouTube. But talking about simulation and brain, you know, the speed at which human technology is advancing today, We will have the power to make the entire universe a huge brain. Welcome, nanobots. According to a computer engineer, Bill Joy, nanobots are going to be made by 2030, which can replicate themselves and make many nanobots like themselves. And if they get into the hands of a wrong person, then they can potentially destroy the entire universe. You will be shocked to know that such nanobots, let alone 2030, have already been made in 2020. In fact, in the year 2020, some university researchers took some of the frogs' stem cells and used them to help them with AI. They modified them to grow in a suitable environment. After a few days, when they observed those cells with normal cells under a microscope, they were mind-blown. They saw that AI-modified cells are eating the normal cells around them and creating other AI-modified cells like themselves. Now, if we consider this behavior, that these nanobots are making a new nanobot in a minute, then even at this slow rate, they can take over the entire Earth in just 20 months. And they can create a network of consciousness and intelligence, which will keep expanding to galaxies, clusters, and finally the entire universe. And then, at that point, if someone looks at our universe, they will feel that it is a big, living, active brain, and Elon Musk's AI threat will be proven true. Mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes. So definitely, this technology shouldn't be used by the wrong people by mistake. This will be our only hope. But for now, we are left with only one question. So friends, what do you think? Is our universe really the brain of an advanced being? Do let us know in the comments what your opinion is. Because every day, there are many new hypotheses about the universe, which people are always trying to find out. And they keep giving their own opinions. But only a few of those hypotheses pass all the scientific tests. Like recently, some cosmologists have proved that the age of the universe we are told about is actually wrong.